And hello. Welcome back, everybody. Oh, I love that song. I am so glad that you are here tonight. Welcome back to the channel. As I always say, I hope you had a great Monday and a great weekend. And now you're getting ready to hang out with us here on the channel. We are continuing our dive into the art of balance, right? How do we live a balanced life? How do we live from the center? And today we have something very special. We're going to recap what we've been doing. We're going to spend some time talking about some tools, right? Some ways, some ideas that are going to help push you into the next phase of what you want to do. We're diving into kind of a comprehensive guide, if you will, some tools, some personal transformation, some things that you can do, some ideas that you need to incorporate. So buckle up, because your dream is a little closer than you think it is. I'm Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E if you're new to me. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health, your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. If you are new, also, go ahead and put new in the comment, because I would love to give you some hand claps and some music. And just welcome you to our channel. Welcome you to the community. Here where we educate, we empower, and we encourage. That's what we do. That's what we do, y'all. If you're out there, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Give us some recognition here. And let's hop over to our channel, and so we can take a look at that. If you've not already done so, you're here now, so you know about it, but we want you to go ahead and share that information with your family, share it with your friends, and let's see which one of these things. Okay, there it is. Okay, there you'll see that is the YouTube channel, and let's kind of scroll up so we can start up here from the top. That is the YouTube channel. Of course, our series that we've done, Mastering Diabetes at the top, Reinventing Yourself, Designing a New Version of Yourself, The Art of Letting Go, right? We did a series entitled The Doctor as Entrepreneur, but that one actually could be for anybody. And then, of course, the series that we're doing right now, Living Life from the Center. Okay, so we want to make sure that you, if you've not already done so, you get over there. You look at some of the things that we have been doing, some of the information that we have been sharing with you, right? So that you can begin working to create that life that you have always wanted. So let's just go ahead and let's dive into what we're talking about tonight. Let's see. Let's make sure we got. There we go. So last week we talked about leisure activity, and if you go to the channel, right, you will see the series, and these are the 6 episodes that we've done. I'm going to review those here in just a minute. The one, of course, that we're doing tonight is the final episode in this series, and it is a life in balance, bringing it all together. Life in balance, bringing it all together. But that's where we've been. So let's run through quickly, right? So we started out by talking about balance, what balance meant. And the balance that we're talking about is the harmonious interplay of all aspects of our life. So the harmonious development, the harmonious integration of the different things that make us up: spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, relational, financial, work, life, leisure, right? We talked about leisure last week. So all of these facets of ourselves are the things that are propelling us into our life, and they are the things that make up our lives. I tell the story often that when I was in medical school, as I was having issues getting through medical school, and when I was working, when I was in graduate school, I had this mentality at the time that when that thing was over, then I would begin living. When I got through graduate school, when I got married, when I got through medical school and then residency and fellowship, right? Then life was going to start. Once all those things when I got through it, life was going to start. But guess what? Life had already started, right? And so often we have these goals that we have, and we negate, if you will, or we leave other parts of ourselves behind, and we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we are spending the time making sure all of those aspects of ourselves are in balance, because that's the wheel that's going to be taking us on our journey. Right? So we want to make sure that wheel, all of those things are running as well as possible. Now, that doesn't mean that each thing gets 50% of us, right? Or 30% or whatever it is. But it means that when we are engaged in that activity, that we are engaged and we're not stealing energy and thoughts and time from different places, right? That we're having this harmonious development of things in our lives, right? So that's what balance meant or means to us. And then we went ahead and we talked about a particular type of balance, that is work and life. The work-life balance, which is the biggest one that a lot of us have issues with. How do we spend time giving enough energy to these two aspects? Because those are the big buckets, if you will, of who we are, right? There's work, which takes up a lot of our time, and then there's life, and within life, we have all those things that we just discussed. Right. So how do we balance those two? How do we go about making sure that we're spending the time that we need to get through or balance both of those? So work-life balance. Then we talked about the family. The family is at the foundation of all that we do. And this one is where we talked about the lens through which we see things. The lens that we have developed, the lens that we have in our lives, that lens is diabetes, what polyuria. That lens is what we have in our lives, right? Or the lens comes from our family. The family helps us develop that. Let me go ahead and cancel this. That was on our iPad as we were going through that. Let me pop back over here. Okay, so the family lens, or the family helps us develop the lens that we use to see the world, and it helps to shape our thoughts. It helps to shape our ways of managing issues in our lives. How do we see other people? How do we problem solve? How do we set goals? So the family is a big component of all that we do. And then we came over and we talked about this idea of friendships and developing a social support structure. How do we make friends? And then also, how do we spend time for ourselves? Because we've got to rejuvenate. We've got to, and we'll talk a little bit about that tonight. We've got to be centered. We've got to be aware of ourselves. So all of those things are very important as we get through this idea of balance, And then, of course, last week in our episode, we talked about leisure. Leisure is not a bad word, y'all, right? Because leisure allows us to rejuvenate, to recuperate, to take a break from those things that may cause us mental anguish and stress, and but it basically allows us to woosah, to relax. And so we want to make sure that we are spending some time in leisure. Okay. And tonight, we're going to be talking about this idea of balance, and we're putting it all together. And let me put that back up so you can see. So what does balance look like? And this is a snapshot of balance and some of the important things. Now, there are a lot of things up on the screen that you see, right? So self-awareness, continuous learning, growth, and we're gonna run through some of those. Not run, but we're gonna walk through some of those. We're not going to cover all of them, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make available a PDF with some of these, and you can be able to download it from our YouTube channel through the show notes. Okay. But what does balance look like? Well, let's back up for a second and let's have a conversation. Now, why are we talking about living life from the center? Why are we talking about balance? We're talking about balance because it is a fundamental component of this idea that we have been promoting, this idea of creating the life we want. Balance is the fundamental vehicle, if you will, of us going to the next level. Because if things are not in balance, then every structure that we create going forward is in jeopardy. You know, we talked about in one of our series before, we talked about this idea of letting go. And we went through that whole process, letting go of the past, letting go of fear, letting go of misconceptions, letting go of resentment. You know why we're throwing all those things away, throwing those things off, dealing with those things, confronting those things? Because they keep us off balance. And if we are off balance, then when we create a relationship, when we create something at work, when we create a product, when we create a business, when we create whatever we're creating, if we're not balanced, then that thing that we created, that part of us, that next level that we say we want to go to, is in jeopardy. Right? Because think about it. When we are lopsided, right, the chance of falling over is much greater. So that's why balance is important. Because we're blazing a trail and we're heading somewhere, but if we don't do a good job, then we put everything in jeopardy. Does that make sense? Make sense? Yeah. I hope it does. All right. So let's hop over and let's talk about one of the very first things in this idea of putting it all together. Right. Number one, we want to know that in order for us to move in the direction that we want, in order for us to make the changes we want, we have to be self-aware. Self-aware. Woo. Come on now. Self-awareness, y'all. Our journey starts with this very first thing. So as you're listening now, right? If you're replaying this, if you're listening to me right now, I want you to grab a journal. I want you to grab a piece of paper, and I want you to jot some things down. Because if we are going to a different place, we've got to know ourselves. We have to have mindfulness. We have to take a personality assessment. We've got to take an inventory of who we are. What are the strengths that we have? What are the weaknesses do we have? And let me back up to that word weakness, right? And I said that, and as soon as I said the word, my brain said, okay, let's use something else. So there are things within me, my natural tendencies, my natural bent, my natural thought process, things that I've learned, things that I've garnered from my family. A lens through which I see a particular thing, or I see a particular group of people, or the lens through which I problem solve. So I've got to have an assessment of where I am and what I have. It's like anything that we do in our lives. If you're going to start a business, if you're going to build a house, if you're going to plan a trip, you got to gather information. You've got to gather data. And the data tells us, tells me, tells you, what do we need to prepare for that thing? If it's a trip, how long is it going to take us? What kind of clothes do we need to take? Do we need to pack food? And, all right. Do we need to do those things? But in order to do that, we've got to be self-aware. Now, I'm going to say to you, there are some things that are within your your sphere. There are going to be some things that are in your personality, some things that are in your history that you're not going to want to pay attention to. You're going to want to stick your head under in the sand, if you will, because they're painful. It's going to remind you of some things that you don't want to think about. But if you're going to be successful, you've got to face those. Are you a good planner? You got to know that. Are you, do you have a problem with motivation? Do you have a problem with money, finances? Do you understand finances? If you're going to do a business, you got to know that. Who do I need to bring into my corner? Who do I need to bring into my sphere? Who do I need to outsource to? All those things are very important, and the only way to know that is to be self-aware. If you're going to have growth, you got to be able to be self-aware. And one way of doing that is to get a journal. Okay. And you start this by doing a column, one column, strengths, weaknesses, things I need to improve, things I need to work on, resources that I need to garner. If you've not already done so, go ahead and look back on our series that we did that's entitled Building a New You, right? Personal growth. Building a New You. And that's there on our on the YouTube channel. Let's see if I can actually pull that up so that you can look at it. But it's on the YouTube channel, and it is you should be able to get to it. If you don't have it now, we will have to we'll take a look at it, and we put it on our put it in the show notes. Okay. All right. Reinventing. There it is. Reinventing yourself, designing a new you. Let me pop over there real quickly. All right. So there it is. Reinventing yourself, designing a new you. And there's a show that we did in there, an episode that we did on journaling and self-awareness, how to take inventory of who you are and what you have. Okay. Make sure you do that. Right. And all of these series that we're doing, right? All of these series, this one has 6 episodes. They fit into this idea of personal growth, this idea of development, this idea of growing, going to the next level, creating. Notice, and I use that word specifically, creating the life we want, because it's not going to fall into your laps, y'all. Right? That's like me going out in the driveway and buying 2 tires and expect my Tesla to just appear. It's not going to happen. That old idea that people used to tell us about, if you want a job, you can't stay at the house and wish for a job. You got to go out and you got to put out resumes, right? Do they put resumes now? Are we still doing that kind of stuff? Woo. Okay. Hey. I see G. Albert. G. Albert said, hey, sorry, I had to dock out Chrome and go directly to YouTube. Okay. Yeah. That's all right, man. We're glad that you are here. He said at the end of series please cover the 2020 that you talked about last week. I'm going to star that, G. Albert, so I can come back to it. Thank you for asking that. Okay. So self-awareness. And I know I spent a lot of time on that one, but self-awareness is a key component of all that we're going to do, because you've got to take inventory. You've got to know where you are. Right? Self-awareness. Next, we've got to do some goal setting. We got to do some goal setting, because now once we are aware of who we are, now once we're aware of the things that we have, now that once we're aware of the tools, the gifts, the tendencies that we have, the things that are going to interrupt us, the things that are going to be some stumbling blocks for us. Now, where are we heading? This is your map. If you don't have a map, guess what? Nothing's happening. Right? You got to have a map, because if you don't, we're stuck. We're stuck. And so now it's time to choose the course. Effective goal setting. We're breaking down those big dreams into bite-sized, achievable steps. Have you ever heard of SMART goals? Specific, measurable, achievable, related, and time-based. If you don't have goals that you've broken down and you've gone through that process, then they're just dreams, y'all. So I want to, and I'm going to take I was going to say simple, but I guess it's not that simple. I want to write a book. Okay? If that's you want to write a book. If you right now sit down and say, if that's your goal, I want to write a book, you're not going to achieve that goal. I want to write a book by December of 2025. Specific. I want to write a book on the process of developing a positive mindset. Specific. Measurable. Right? How many pages is this book going to be? When is it going to be finished? When is it going to be published? Measurable, so that you have measurable, a measurable, I was going to say goal, right? But you can't use the word to define the word. That's the goal. That's where we're heading, right? Is it measurable? Is it achievable? I'm going to write a 300-page book on how to start a YouTube channel. And I want to do that by December of 2025. That's achievable. Right? But sometimes it's not achievable. I want to, I was going to say I want to live on the moon, right? I guess is it achievable anymore? I don't know. Is somebody putting up a vehicle or something? Who knows these days, right? Okay, but I want to live on the moon by 2025. Probably not achievable. Is it related? So if you're talking about writing a book about starting a YouTube channel that's going to be published by 2025, right? So specific, measurable, achievable. Is it related? Is that related to the other things that you are doing? Are those things tied together? And of course, time-based, and we already threw time into there, right? So it's going to be in December. Now, that is a SMART goal, SMART. But now each part of that goal can be broken down into, each part of it, that ultimate thing can be broken down into smaller achievable goals. Okay, how many pages am I going to write per day? When am I going to be finished with half of the book, a third of the book, 2/3 of the book? When am I going to get it to the publishers? Right. So now we begin to break each of those down into smaller achievable goals. One of the things that I love is a vision board, and we did a vision board at the end of last year. We did a show with Lala from Mommy Guide, who came on and walked us through creating a vision board. And you guys have seen. Did you guys see me? I think I had my vision board that I showed you showed you. Okay, it's over there, so can't get to it right now. Right, that's a perfect time to do that. As we're getting to the new year, and let me take a plug right here. That we're moving into the last quarter. We're coming up in the last quarter soon. Your success for next year can't start. Your plan for success for next year can't start in January. Your plan for success for next year has to start this year. So even now, you're thinking, okay, what are the things that I want to do in my life, in my business, in my channel, in my church, in my family, in my relationships, in my health? You're starting to process those things now so that you're not waiting till January. Because if you wait till January, guess what? You're already behind the 8 ball. Right, so smart goals. So we got to start setting goals. So we're talking about how do we put all these things together? How we put all this stuff together, right? So we've got to have this idea of personal inventory. We got to inventory ourselves. Then we're going to set goals. Let's set goals. Goal setting. Smart goals is what we're talking about. And then time management, y'all. Time management. Time management. What does that mean? 24 hours a day, folks. That's what we get. 24 hours a day. 1,440 minutes per day. 1,440. Most of us, aside from sleeping, give all of that away to somebody else. But your 24 hours is a game changer. Everybody gets 24 hours a day. Everybody gets 1,440 minutes a day. Why are some people more successful than other people? Everybody's going to say, oh, they're smarter than me. They have more resources than me. They have more this than me. They have 24 hours, y'all. We all get 24 hours a day. Organize. My wife said to me, I was talking to her today in her office. I was telling her about something that I want to do. And I was questioning whether I could do it. And she said to me, right now, so I'm talking about time management. She said, if you manage your time more, you can do it. Yep. Often it's not that we don't have the time. It's what we use the time for. I'll tell you, I do waste a lot of time. Now I spend a lot of time in here, right? I've spent a lot of time here in this space. Because I'm on the computer, I'm thinking, I'm working on a process, I'm working on whatever it is I'm doing. But sometimes I just get tired. And instead of going to sleep, which I should, I'll stay here and I'll say, okay, I'm just going to watch part of this movie. As though watching the movie is going to like refresh me. Because when I'm finished watching that part of the movie, guess what? I'm still just as tired. But we talked about time blocking. So find a way to organize, find a way to manage your time. And there are lots of resources that we've provided in time management on our channel. We've done a show on time management. We did blogs on time management. So get out there and you can find all that information on in the things that we've done. Even within this series, we've talked about time management. There are apps that are out there. I tell you that I use Notion. We did a show on Notion. I do Day One. I did a show on Day One. But there are lots of other things that are out there. There are project management software that you have if you're managing projects, right? Trello and some of the others. Day One, not Day One, but Tuesday morning is one that I used years ago. I don't know if that's still available out there, but you can find some. And if you can't do that, get yourself a piece of paper, y'all, and just write it out. Get one of my team members said to me, "Oh, I didn't know that you used a planner. Like I have a physical planner that's in my backpack that I carry around." Because sometimes I just need to jot something down. I don't have time to go to the electronic version. So I need to jot it down. Some things are coming up here. And that's one of the beauties of journaling. Right? Because sometimes the brain starts working. And if you're waiting to get to the digital, sometimes the concept, the ideas, the strength of the thought is gone. But if you can get a piece of paper or get a pencil and scribble it, they say, guys, men, we should use pencils when we're doing that, right? Because we like to erase and so forth. Get a journal and start doing it. Ensure that you have time for work and play and everything in between. Time blocking. So time management. We're talking about putting it all together. How do we live life from the center? How do we live a balanced life, right? So time management. And then continuous learning. This one, y'all, it is huge. This is a big one. Because when we talk about continuous learning is what allows us to continue to expand. So things change. Now, they told me when I finished medical school, they told me that 50% of the technologies and so on that I had learned were going to be obsolete. Mm-hmm. And if you're out there, if you did engineering, if you did computer science, as a matter of fact, a lot of the stuff that we have done in our careers when you graduated from college or university, the concepts that you learned may have stayed the same, but the technology changed. And even in some cases, the concepts, the ideas, the understanding of the way to do things changed. Like I manage thyroid cancer as part of my my training, right? That's what we did. And I managed thyroid cancer. We've got patients in our office who come to us and they have thyroid cancer, and we see them and we manage their medications for suppressive therapy. And over the course of the time that I've been out, within the last 3 or 4 years, the way that we do that is changing. So the way I managed thyroid cancer 3 years ago is not the same way I manage it today. So as students are rotating, we have medical students who rotate through our office. So the ones that were there 3 years ago, right, they learned one concept, and today I'm teaching a slightly different concept. And I imagine in the next 3-4 years, we're going to have some different information that comes through. So the first thing is to continually learn so that you can keep up in what's going on in your field, in your area. So that you continue to be the expert in your area. If you're here online, right? If you're writing a book, if you're counseling, if you're a coach, wherever you are, if you are in the public eye and you are teaching, you got to keep learning. And then for yourself, I've got a couple of people who come to the office. I should say a lot of people who come to the office, and they are just ardent book people. Like they like to touch and feel the pages, and they read. And I had one guy comes in, and whenever he comes, I say, "Hey, what are you reading?" He said, "I don't know, just a book that I got." And he goes to the used bookstore and he buys books in bulk, and he reads through them. And then when he's done, he takes them back to the bookstore and he gets more. And for him, it doesn't really matter what the book is, because he's constantly learning, constantly reading. And for this growth mindset, this balance that we're talking about, There are all these ideas and concepts that we have to continually update this thing up here, because if we're not careful, we get stuck in that rut. And how do we create the life we want if we are not informed? Whether it's a book or a podcast, a workshop, something that ignites your passion. There's a guy who may be watching even now. Hopefully he's watching. And he's always sending, well, not always. He sends me these texts. We were messing with him this weekend. That I don't know where he has the time to research this stuff. He's always sending me information about this new app that came out or this new piece of device that comes out. Amazing. And that's where we need to be. And so there are these things. And I'm going to tell you, I like, by the way, I like this. If you like this new view that we got here, we're still cleaning it. We're working on it. Okay. So it's a work in progress, but sometimes I'm sitting here and there's so much stuff that I am thinking, so many things that are in my head, in my mind that I want to do. Okay. Because I'm always learning and I'm picking up stuff from all over the place. And I love that process. I love the ability to do that. So what sets you off? What gets your passion? Level up what you do. How do you do that? You do that because you are constantly engaged in education. You're educating yourself. And sometimes you're not going out to learn something because you have something specific you want to learn. You're just reading and researching and listening, right? Because you're pouring into yourself. Because when you pour into yourself, all of a sudden an idea comes. And you don't know where the idea came from, but it came because there was an intersection of so many different things that you did and so many things that you were learning. Okay? Continuous learning. Make sure you do that. And then, big one, y'all. Growth mindset. Yeah. I'm excited about this one. You know why? I want you to imagine that having a growth mindset is like having a superpower, because it propels you towards your dreams. It's all about believing that your abilities and your intelligence can develop through dedication, effort, and learning. This is where the rubber meets the road. All the things that we talk about, if you don't have a growth mindset, if you don't believe you can do it, then there is no purpose, there's no point in what we're doing. With a growth mindset, challenges become opportunities, setbacks become stepping stones, and your potential becomes virtually limitless. I can do whatever I want. With a growth mindset. If you have a closed, static mindset, it says that the only thing that I could achieve is what I currently have. The only level to which I can go is where I am. The only money I can have is what I currently have. The only friends that I have are the ones that are currently in my circle. The only relationships I can develop are the ones I already have. The only education, the only degree, the only training, the only certificate that I can achieve are the ones that have already been given. I can't do anything further. But with a growth mindset, the sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. Take me, for example. Okay? This concept of growth, I love it. I'm an endocrinologist. I'm an endocrinologist, y'all, that went to school. And I love, so I'm going to do a plug here for Dr. Una. Dr. Una, thank you for your book. It's back there, right? That was the basis of a series that I did back last year called The Physician as Entrepreneur. And in the book, Dr. Una said that as a physician, and I'm gonna extrapolate this to everybody who's watching, whatever your field is. As a physician, the only thing you can do is not, let me say that. So she's saying that I can do more than what my current training says. So if you've gone through school, any kind of school, think of the things that you had to learn. Think of the things that you had to do, the projects. Think of what you had to do to get your degree. And she says, if you were able to do that in whatever field you did it in my case, medicine, what stops you from learning and developing other things? In fact, what I'm teaching you right now, this whole idea of designing a new version of yourself, this comes from talking to thousands of patients and seeing their disease process and see how their disease process interplays with their personal life. And how sometimes, a lot of the times, it has nothing to do with the disease, but it has everything to do with this thing up here. So now in my personal life, in my experience, in the things that I've done, so I decided I'm going back now, and I went and developed or trained to be a coach. See what happened? So I'm an endocrinologist. I've learned a lot of stuff to do through medical school. I've learned a lot of stuff through residency. I've learned a lot of stuff through fellowship. Those tools that I used to learn that information can be extrapolated. As I interacted with people, I began seeing patterns of behavior, patterns of thought, patterns of dysfunction, places where people were stuck. I went on to do coaching, and here I am talking to you with that experience and sharing with you, saying, hey, we can go further. We can create the life we've always wanted. We can go to the next level. Growth mindset. Growth mindset. All right, I saw, let's see, what did G. Albert said? I took a screenshot of your new setup about 30 minutes ago. I'm with you. My wife wants me to leave this space ever so often. Maybe that's where I can take advantage of 2020. Let me put that on the screen. 2020. I love it. And then down here he says diversity. I love it. Yes, I love that word. Diversity. Okay, so if you've not been following Dr. Una, go ahead and find her. I think her book is called The Entree MD Method. And like I said, it was written for physicians. It was written with physicians in mind, but it can be extrapolated to so many other people. In fact, let me pop it up, and that's the series right there. Okay, The Entree MD, the physician as the doctor as entrepreneur. Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 episodes in that series. The first one is the unboxing of the book. I was so excited to get that book. Okay, so growth mindset that you can develop. You can be more with dedication, effort. What you have right now is not all that you can do. Whatever your career is, if you have other interests, develop them. And here's the beauty of this, y'all. Obviously I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let's go back here. So growth mindset. Okay? Growth mindset. Let's go back here. So growth mindset, that's what we're talking about. And within the growth mindset, it says that if I fail at something, that doesn't mean that that's the end. Let me say it again. If I try something and it doesn't work, guess what? I know that's one way of not doing it. Let me try something else. Let me go a different way. Let me try a different phrase. Let me try a different thing. I'm gonna tell you, and once again, I love talking about myself and telling you the stuff that I go through. Just in April, I did a program. And the program was successful. We had people sign up. They went through the program. They got transformation. Okay. And then I did a different program, and it wasn't as successful. And I was in my head. And I had to have someone say to me, dude, you've been there now for 3-4 weeks. I think it was like 6 weeks later. That I was still processing this thing. Why didn't it work? Why wasn't it working? And someone said to me, it's like, hey, okay, it didn't work. Done. It's done. You just wasted 6 weeks kind of processing this thing. So there are things that you're going to do that won't work. And that's where those three, is it 3 words? Let me see. Resilience, right? The ability to bounce back. Pivoting, the ability to change and turn and move. And flexibility, so that you don't break, you can bend. In the growth mindset. If you are true to being successful, if that's what you really want to do, then yeah, you can do it. You can do it. And then, networking. Now, this is one I'm going to have to get someone on the show to really talk about this. Now, last summer-ish, was it last summer-ish? About a year ago, there is a networking group here. It's a group. You go and you meet people and you guys change cards, and it is designed for people to get to know each other and work together to build their businesses. And so I went and I watched and interacted with some people. Now it turned out that the group was meeting and my schedule didn't allow me to fully embrace, because you had to be there. I couldn't do it, but those are perfect places to begin working. If you're not sure how to start, how to begin, a lot of churches will have programs. Go out and get into the programs. Meet people. And here's the thing. Don't just meet people because you're trying to change a car. Just go and be a person. How about that? Just, hey, you guys we had a social at our church, right? So you guys are having a social. I'm showing up just because I want to be there. I want to be part of the community. Surround yourself with like-minded people. That's a big one. If you like to do a certain things, go find where those people are. Get a conference, get a webinar. And I say webinar, but get a conference. Go out and be with people. How do you do that? You can get on platforms like LinkedIn if you're in professional space. What I love about what I do is, as I put my content out, as I talk to people, as I put things out, people from Facebook will contact me, or someone from Instagram, and someone will say, hey, I like that. And G. Albert, thank you, by the way, for commenting about one of the short segments that we put out this week. I gotta go back and say hi. But here's your shout out right now. Thank you. I can't tell you the number of people that I've met in this community, this online space. So there are people out there. Surround yourself with people. Networking. And I already talked about embracing failure, right? So failures are stepping stones to success. Failures are stepping stones to success. When you make a mistake, When you make a mistake, you learn from that mistake. Get ready to shift. Change your perspective. Look to see, what can I do? How do I do it differently? Because if you don't, then you're missing a lot of opportunities. And then wellness, y'all. Wellness. You got to have some wellness. You have got to take care of this thing right here, this body. If you don't, then you are missing an opportunity to go to the next level, to create the life you've always wanted. Just this week, I was over at one of our pastor's houses, and the group of guys, well, guys and gals, we were standing around, and there was one guy. He is passionate about health. He's passionate. And the idea is that it has to become an integral part of what we do, because we talk about developing the mind. We talk about developing personality and positive outlooks and positive mindsets. But we also have to be able to deal with this body, right? So our diet, our mental practices, meditation, our management of stress, getting enough sleep, staying hydrated. You see me drinking water, right? I'm gonna drink some more right now. Right? I put ice in there. That's why I'm muting, so you guys don't hear the ice tinkling. Right? And if you do that, I mean, you get excited. That's right. Yes. So we get excited. We can take care of this body, this wellness that we talk about, right? It's exciting. Make sure you're doing all the things that you need to do so that we can be successful, so that we can celebrate when we arrive where we need to be. And so balance, y'all. That makes sense? Yes. All right, so let's take a break right here, and let's do some acknowledgement. So G. Albert, thank you for being out there. He has a question that we're going to come back and answer in just a minute. If you're out there and you're watching, please go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Let us know that you are there. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you will know when we go live and when we produce new and exciting content. If you've not already done so, get out to our channel and, of course, take advantage of all the things that we are doing out there. Okay, so we are continuing to put out new content. Find us on social media, and you can find us on all of our social media platforms. That's Dwayne Wood MD. And you can find us there. Let's see. Let's pop that up. Let's get back over here. Okay. So Dwayne Wood MD. You'll see it there on Instagram, on Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And then, of course, here on the channel, you'll find us as well, Dwayne Wood MD. And we'd love to connect with you and let us know that, hey, look at that. We're out here and we are watching and we are with you. The other thing is, if you've not already been over to our website, that's Dwayne Wood MD as well, DwayneWoodMD.com. And if you get over there, you'll be able to see our website and all the offerings that we have. Of course, our blog, and I keep plugging that because there's lots of information that's out there. And this is just supplementary information. We want you to come and we want you to be involved and engaged in the YouTube channel, and we want you to be engaged in all the social media. But the blog also, it has lots of very good information out there that will supplement what we're doing as we are working on getting to the next level. If you know someone who does not do YouTube, or someone who does YouTube, but during times when they're traveling, they want to listen. We do go back and we edit our show, and then we put it on our podcast. And that is called "Do You Know" with Dr. Dwayne Wood. "Do You Know" podcast with Dr. Dwayne Wood. And we are in the process of redesigning the website, so you'll see it'll be the same thing, DwayneWoodMD.com, but it will look a little different and highlight things a little differently. As you are going through your life, y'all, as you're going through your life, you are in a space where you feel like you are stuck. You feel like something is not right. Something needs to change. I have this idea in mind, but I don't know how to begin, how to start, how to move from where I am. I would love to come alongside and work with you and walk with you. This is what we do. This is what we do. We are in the process of change, right? So as we've talked to clients and thousands of patients over the years, we're working through and making changes. Right. So we want to be a part of that. So go there and you can click and you will be able to get to our coaching program. And like I said, it's designed to help us get unstuck from where we are. So make sure that you avail yourself of that. And this is a perfect place for us to do our thought of the day. So let's hop over and do that right now. And our thought of the day is this: don't forget to customize the things you learn to fit into your life and to promote and expose your potential. So don't forget to customize the things that you learn to fit into your life and to expose and promote your potential. There are so many things that you will learn, and so many things that you're learning here on this channel. So many things you learn in the things that we do, in the products and the content that we produce. And sometimes you're going through some content and you're listening and you may say, hey, I don't identify with a lot of that. But the question is, what do you identify with? Don't throw it all away. Find the thing in it that fits you, that fits where you are, the thing that you can use to propel yourself, the thing that you can use to make you more successful. So find it, customize it to yourself. The person that's producing it comes from a particular perspective. They have a particular idea, but the concept itself can be expandable. For instance, the idea of a growth mindset. It doesn't matter where you find yourself. That concept, that principle always works. So if you're out there and you're going through content, you're reading a lot of things, and sometimes there's so much that's coming at you, find the thing that fits you. Find the thing that promotes you. Find the thing that enhances and promotes your potential, and you will be successful. And that is our thought for today. All right. So we are back, and let's go ahead and let's hop over to the chat now. And I see G. Albert had a couple of questions. Let's go back and let's start with the very first one that he asked about. He says, at the end of the series tonight, please cover the 2020 that you talked about last weekend. Okay, 2020 last weekend. So the 2020, so we were talking about how do we incorporate leisure into our lives, right? And how do we take a break? Now, let me tell you one of my favorite places. And here's the thing. I have not been to this place like millions of times. It's called St. Simon's Island. It's right off the coast of Georgia and Florida. And my wife and I went there years ago for one of our anniversaries. And y'all, this place, I fell in love. Did I say love? Yes, I fell in love with this place. And so St. Simon's Island has become the example for me of this idea of leisure and moving away. When I'm stressed, my brain, in my mind, I go to St. Simon's Island. And I imagine driving across the bridge to the island. When we got there, there was this, it rained or drizzled a little bit. And we went into the little cottage. And, it was just set in the right way. And we walked down the street. And my wife and I had an amazing time. So when I want to get away, in my mind, I go to St. Simon's Island. Yeah, because it's my getaway. On my phone, I have these little messages that pop up occasionally because I've scheduled them. And the message says, are you willing at this time to do the things that are required to make you successful? Okay, so it breaks up my day as I go through the day. So this idea of 20-20-20 is a way of kind of breaking up the day. Sometimes we get so caught up in the day and we don't think of and we don't do any things that kind of renew ourselves. So 20-20-20 says every 20 minutes you look at something that's 20 feet away for 20 seconds. And in that process, you are taking some focus away from where you are and you're becoming mindful, right? You are tapping into who you are. You are taking a break sometimes from the stress of life. Okay? So that's the idea behind the 20-20-20, that you, every 20 minutes, you look at something that's 20 feet away and you do that for 20 seconds. And so it breaks up those synapses. It allows for some relaxation. Okay? It's kind of like, I was going to say a break when you leave your, we don't do water cooler breaks anymore, right? So you leave your station and you go out and you do something, but you can be in the space because sometimes you can't leave. Like you can't leave your physical space, but it allows you to kind of come down. Okay. And I have, let's see. That's a good question. I was going to say I have a little video that I created. Let's see. Hold on a second, guys. I'll have to go find it. But I did a little video. It's kind of a meditation, right? It's a 1 minute video, 1 minute breathing video, and I will. Yeah, so I'll keep looking at it, but I don't see it right now. And sometimes I'll just play. I'll be in here and I'll just play it, and it has some music. It has some sounds in it to kind of help you relax. When I do my coaching, it's what I walk my patients through, or my clients. The very, hey, good morning, how are you doing? Or good evening, how are you doing? We kind of banter a little bit. Okay, now let's get centered. Let's do this little exercise. And then let's go into our session. Okay. 20-20-20. Hope that answers your question, G. Albert. Okay, so he has another question here. He says, are you on once a week or multiple times a week? So I am here every Monday, unless indicated, once a week on Monday at 7 Central. Monday nights, 7 Central is where we are. Thank you for asking that. But you can find our content throughout the week, right? So on Fridays, our podcast comes out and our blog comes out. On Tuesdays, you'll get a shorter clip. So I go through this show and I find a clip that I think is very important for people to know, and we'll put that out on Tuesdays. On Wednesdays and Thursdays, we have shorts that come out on the different social media platforms. And then, like I said, you'll see some other things once our website gets up and going and developed. He said, "Too late to get unstuck. The cement has already cured." All right, so that's right, G. Albert. So sometimes we've got to break it up, dude. We've got to get that jackhammer and we've got to get in there, right? So we got to get in there and we've got to break it up so that people can move away from where they are and move into a different space. All right. So this idea of living from the center. I want so much for you to know that if you are in a space where you feel stuck, if you're in a space that you feel uncomfortable, if you're in a space right now that you know there's something going on and you're not quite sure, begin working on this idea of living life from the center. Go to our website, go to our YouTube channel, and find the Wheel of Life. We did actually several shows on using the Wheel of Life. All right, where I'm going to be putting out a course online that talks about getting unstuck and letting go, and look for those types of things out in the space. Because the space that you're in, you don't have to stay there. Right? You can craft the life you want. You can craft the dreams that you want. We went through some tools here tonight or some concepts and some things that you can do. Begin walking through those. Go back, take this show, take notes, and begin walking through the stuff that we've done. Take this series and sit down with your family, with your friends, and say, hey, I want to begin moving into a better space. Let's listen to this together and go through the tools that we've done. Look at the stuff in our blog. But I want you to commit, right? I want you to commit that you're going to take this series that we've done, this series about living life from the center, and you can go back and you can rewatch it. And you may have been here and you've caught parts of it, caught pieces of it, but take the series as a whole, watch it, and decide that you are creating the life you want. We're moving to the next level. 2024 is coming. We're not going into 2024 like we have been doing in 2023. We said this year we're creating the life we want. And as we get to 2024, we are just moving. We're expanding. We're growing. We're blowing up, y'all. And that begins the end of this year. It begins over these next few months. As we're getting there, we start thinking, what are we going to do? What are we changing? How are we growing? What are we developing? What do I need to do? What group of people do I need to get into my life? What resources do I need? What new thought process do I have to have? Because you can create the life you've always wanted. I love it. Thank you for being here. I am so appreciated. G. Albert says 2020 sounds like the distraction technique that my functional movement dysfunction medical team is encouraging me to do. It may be, yeah. It is it is a distraction, right? Because it distracts us from the things that we're doing right now, and it allows us that momentary decrease in the stress, right? So thank you all for being here. This is Dr. Dwayne Wood, y'all. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health, your life, avoid complications, go to the next level, and create the life you've always wanted. Thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, share, find us on the social media platforms, say hello when you see us out there, and come on back, and we'll see you at the next show. Good night, everybody. Thank you, and have a great evening.